Wine and Crime contains graphic and explicit content which may not be suitable for some viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
Up, down, now it's my turn. Okay. You are listening to Wine and Crime, the podcast where three friends chug wine, chat true crime, and unleash their worst Minnesotan accents.
Yeah.
And also their derecho, high wind
PTSD.
trauma.
Yes. Yes.
Kenyon and Lucy are struggling with some high wind trauma today.
Your time will come.
Yeah.
I mean,
He'll get ya. She'll get ya.
maybe. I'm struggling with lingering cold trauma as I dab and blow.
You guys
Who are
seriously
we?
can't hear this wind. I'm losing my mind.
No,
I'm
honey,
so
we can't.
sorry.
We can't hear it.
Okay. My house is going to blow down. All right. I'm Kenyon. I'm scared.
Oh my God. I'm Lucy. This is going to be a long episode.
I'm Amanda, and somehow the least anxious one right now.
I'm fine.
Ooh.
I have
Now.
to go take a second pill.
Text Zach. Tell him to bring you a pill.
Bring me a bump.
Bring me
Mama
my
needs a
pills.
Bring me my Zoloft bump.
Strap yourself in.
My afternoon meds.
I need my 2 o'clock.
Should I expand from my AM and PM pill box to a 3-time-a-day pill regimen
Why are you
box?
on a
Orderly.
4-time-a-day pill box?
Yeah.
Get ahead.
I will be sometime, I'm sure.
Invest now.
Oh.
Inflation's crazy.
Invest now.
Invest now.
Yes. Okay, well, we have a very special, very scary
Oh,
fan pick this week.
this is a really scary episode.
Yeah.
I was not well writing my notes.
No.
Yeah. Another fear is going to be unlocked for you, especially, Mandy.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kill it.
So we have, this is brought to you by Carrie Iverson, and Carrie has selected the topic, and I cannot believe we haven't done this one yet.
I know.
Scary Stalkers.
Well,
Yeah.
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Pretty great.
Hate it.
There's going to be a lot to cover. But first, Amanda, let's get to our wine crime pairing for Scary Stalkers.
Well, as you can see and hear, I'm still gross. Some things never change. I'm still taking the, Mariah needs to sing tonight meds that the doctor gave me, so I'm not mixing alcohol with that. However, I do feel better today, so I did take a gummy with my cough medicine. So it
Nice.
might get a little weird over here. I can't wait. But just because I'm not drinking doesn't mean y'all shouldn't. And Carrie made a wine recommendation or a wine brand recommendation, and I was checking out their website, and I might be obsessed with Obsession Wines.
Yum.
And their website is super cute. It's very obviously it looks like a whole team of Instagram influencers made this entire brand, which is probably why I fucking am in love with it. It just looks like a total party. They make wines both in a can and in the bottle, and they have a ton of different really fun options. They also have cocktail options. So their whole thing is the party. Wine is a party. Drinking wine is a party. Getting together with your friends is fun. Have some wine. And they are based out of Northern California. So their varietals are really, really tasty, very accessible. And they kind of cover a super wide range of different preferences, I would say. So in their about page, they talk about how they have some really fun wines from very classic aromatic varietals to convenient cans of more fruit infused wines. So that can add a little splash of sweetness if you prefer that. It's almost
Pool
like
sippers.
yeah, little
Yeah.
poolside, lakeside, out on the pontoon.
Yeah.
Mm.
Toss them in the cooler.
That's what I'm saying. I could really see some of these fruit-infused wines next to my twisted tea and the Pantone this summer. So I'm going to be checking them out. You can shop online. It appears they ship to most, I almost said countries, states. I've been really, really closely following like Marjorie Taylor Greene wanting all red states to secede, and so I'm preparing myself. But I just wanted to shout out the Obsession wines because they're amazing, and they were recommended to us by our lovely fan picker. And while I am just drinking my sparkling lemon water, clutching my toilet paper roll, and waiting for this gummy to kick in, I'm dreaming of these Obsession wines because they look really cute and really fun and really delicious. So thank you for the recommendation. I have it bookmarked.
Someday soon.
Mm-hmm. Are you two drinking anything fun?
No.
Other than your meds?
We're just doing these afternoon recordings, so
Yeah.
I'm just being a mom lately.
You don't want your nanny to watch you just kick back a bottle of wine at 2 p.m.?
Yeah, pretty much.
And then be like, give me my baby back.
Oh
I
my
want my
God.
baby back, baby
Give
back,
me
baby
my
back.
baby back.
Yeah,
Casual Tuesday.
pretty much. Don't want to be day drinking.
Give me baby back ribs.
Barbecue sauce.
Barbecue sauce.
All right. Well, cheers. Lucy, what is our background and maybe psych for, I hope fucking psych for Scary Stalkers?
Sorry, I was just looking at Igloo coolers. They have a whole Flavortown line.
Yeah.
Like Guy Fieri Flavortown
Yeah.
coolers.
Oh my God.
Can you get the flame ones?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're good.
I
I
get
do
one.
need a new cooler for this summer.
You
I
might
think you need a Guy Fieri.
Do I need a
flavored.
Guy
a
Fieri Flavortown
7-quart
cooler?
Playmate Pal cooler.
Should I add that to my wedding registry?
I'm sending you the link right now.
Absolutely.
Doing
You
it
should have two
literally right
registries.
now.
One
No.
that's like for real, and then one is what you actually want.
Not me opening Zola to add the Flavortown cooler to my wedding.
Well, I know what I'm getting you.
There's two different types.
Well,
These are
I'll
so
pick one.
ugly. I can't wait.
I can't wait.
Okay,
They're
okay.
like $40. What a steal.
What?
Yeah.
Me too.
I know.
Okay, back to background and psych for Scary Stalker.
I'm going to stock up. This is an evergreen birthday gift for everyone. Anyone.
Yeah, just, you know what? Buy them in bulk and just hand them out.
Holy
Yeah.
shit. This is so good. I can't wait.
Oh my God. Anyway, stalking. Okay.
Oh, right. Terror. Never sleeping again. Got
Yes,
it.
of course I have psych. Okay. So, according to the Department of Justice, quote, stalking is a pattern of repeated and unwanted attention, harassment, contact, or any other course of conduct directed at a specific person that would cause a reasonable person to feel fear, end quote. Right off the bat, I want to note that fear isn't the only reaction that one can have if they're being stalked, the only valid reaction. A victim might also feel anxious, nervous, isolated, stressed, or develop signs of depression.
Yeah, because it's real fucked up
Yeah.
and freaky.
Mm-hmm.
And stalking behaviors almost always escalate, so don't take it with a grain of salt.
Right.
Yeah,
Take it very seriously.
Don't just like poo-poo it, especially if it's like this repeated pattern.
Y'all, my case, I can't.
Yeah, same.
Have you?
The amount of poo-pooing of stalking is
Oh.
fucking egregious.
Oh, my case, people took it pretty seriously, but also the victim is a man. So,
Mhm. They did not take, no one fucking took it seriously in my case.
Have you ever seen the show on Netflix called I Am a Stalker?
no.
I watched one episode
It's
and I
really
can't,
scary.
I can't watch it.
Is it a docuseries?
Yes.
Okay. From the
So-
perspective of the stalker?
They interview
Both.
convicted, well, yeah, and victims, but
Victims and convicted stalkers, like jailhouse interviews, and like without fail, the person in jail was just like, "Oh, I mean, I guess
They were in
technically
love
it
with
was
me, I
stalking,
thought."
but I didn't." Like,
Weird.
yeah,
I feel like there's a whole side of Netflix that I need to unlock.
oh, the true crime side of Netflix is dark, babe.
I love it.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
They're clearly trying to compete with Hulu,
Yeah.
and they've got some real crap ass stuff out now.
Speaking of Hulu and hashtag not an ad, but this, my case is kind of gives off the patient vibes.
No. Really? Ooh.
That was
Yeah.
stalking and kidnapping
Yeah.
and false imprisonment.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Okay, stalking behaviors constitute one form of intimate partner violence and are interrelated to harassment and intimidation. The term stalking is used with some differing definitions in psychiatry and psychology, as well as in some legal jurisdictions as a term for a criminal offense. Similar to crimes of sexual violence, stalking is about power and control, which we'll talk a little bit more later in my segment.
Great.
This I thought was really fascinating. The word stalking being used for this particular type of behavior wasn't actually in wide usage until the 1990s.
Yep.
Really?
We'll kind of get to it, actually.
So
In my
previously,
case.
people used terms like female harassment, obsessive following, or psychological rape.
Mm-hmm.
God.
Jesus.
Yeah, I actually wrote Jesus into my
Oh.
notes.
It's just like,
Jesus.
we don't take it seriously. And by we, I don't mean like us as individuals.
Society.
But society does not take this seriously enough now. But the fact that we had like no laws about it until the 90s, y'all.
Yeah.
My mother-in-law was briefly stalked.
Ugh.
Luckily, I think I've talked about this on the show before. And I got her permission to talk about it because, like,
That's very traumatic.
it was traumatic, but also it wasn't. It ended. Let's put it that way. Like it wasn't like that ongoing and disruptive to her life. But
I mean, thank God.
thank goodness.
Seriously.
And sometimes it really is and really can be, but just in her particular case, it wasn't. But she found out that her stalker had previously and for years and years very persistently stalked Jennifer Aniston.
Makes sense. They're basically twins.
And so, yeah, so she
Flattery?
Exactly. She would sometimes make the joke that, like, well,
Well,
at least he has
I
good
was stalked by
taste.
the same person who stalked Jennifer Aniston.
At least he has good taste.
taste.
Oh my God.
Not to make a joke. I mean, she was making
She's allowed to make that
She's
joke
allowed to.
because it was her experience.
Right.
And she's in a fortunate position not to have been irrevocably harmed by that
Right.
situation.
Right.
So,
Oh, Jerry.
Yep.
God love her.
Yep.
Well, okay. I'm glad that it didn't escalate beyond
Mm-hmm.
something she couldn't handle.
Yeah, because we probably wouldn't have Sonia. So
I think
I'm
the
also
reason
really-
the reason it didn't continue to escalate was because the stalker faced fucking consequences. I think
Mhm.
maybe for some other crimes he had committed and was put away.
Good.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, from safehorizon.org, in the United States, approximately 7.5 million people are stalked every year. This number I've seen fluctuate throughout different articles that I looked at.
Every year?
Every year. I saw something as high
My
as
eye is
13 million.
Well, it's a very, very, like you said just before, it's a very common part of intimate partner violence and domestic abuse.
Also,
So I
I'm
feel
sure
like-
goes underreported. There's kind of like gray area. It's
Mhm.
spectrum.
Right. So if you're just thinking of like stranger stalking,
Right.
that's probably a much smaller subset.
Well, Kenny has no idea how many times I drive past her house, so she can't even
Right.
report
Well,
my stats.
my next sentence
I can smell
actually
it.
is most stalking is done by someone known to the victim, such as a current or former business partner. Just kidding. Regular partner.
Podcast host.
Me, hi, I'm the stalker, it's me.
Oh, no. But some victims also are stalked by complete strangers.
Mm-hmm.
According to the CDC, about 1 in 6 women and 1 in 17 men will experience stalking at some point in their lifetime.
Wow.
1 in 6 women. Ugh.
Mm-hmm. That's a lot of fucking people.
Yeah. Okay, this is from RAIN.org. Stalking laws and definitions differ from state to state. Stalking behavior can take many forms, including making threats against someone or that person's family or friends, non-consensual communication, such as repeated phone calls, emails, text messages, and unwanted gifts.
Check.
Could also be them like stealing a person's
Mhm.
possession, like digging through their trash and taking their things. But
My
but
My guy
it's not
is
the same as
checking
like
every
theft.
single one of
Same.
these boxes. Yeah.
Same.
Ugh.
It does seem like a very
Patternful.
patterned, like it's like a playbook.
Yeah.
It feels like and obviously there are going to be some variations, but almost every stalking case you read about, they follow like the same fucking pattern.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh, it's so gross.
Also, repeated physical or visual closeness, like waiting for someone to arrive in certain locations, like always knowing where they're going to be at certain times, following
Getting to
them,
work early to make sure you're there when they get there.
or watching someone from a distance. Also, any behavior used to contact, harass, track, or threaten someone.
hmm
So then we have cyber stalking as its own category. We could do
Yeah.
cyber stalking as its own episode too.
Absolutely, we could. It's nuts.
So the broad term, a broad term related to cyber stalking is use of technology to stalk. So I think in like laws,
Sure.
like
Mhm.
legal stuff,
They
that's
have
what
to
the term they
separate
use. Yeah.
out. Yeah.
So some examples of this include persistently sending unwanted communication through the internet, such as spamming someone's email inbox or social media platform.
So
Posting
me to like the host of the dollop, basically,
Yes.
just being
you
like,
are definitely
this
stalking
joke
the
on
dollop
today's
guys.
episode was so funny.
Oh my god, do you do
This
that?
joke was so yes, I can't help it. Sometimes it's really funny.
Or on the other end of that spectrum.
Do they reply?
Sometimes, but usually not.
Kenyon!
I love that podcast. Okay.
We know.
And recently they talked about someone and their last name was Kenyon. And
Oh, so you felt really special.
so they were
That
talking
they were almost
to
saying
me.
They were shouting
saying
you
your
out.
name.
Right.
They were
on
shouting you out.
some may stalk and send creepy messages due to an intense love. Others, like my fiance, may stalk and send messages to a podcast. Maybe that podcast is Comedy Bang Bang, and maybe he's getting really annoyed with how crappy the ad reads are for Thomas's English muffins, and he's so upset about it that it's making him not want Thomas's English muffins, even though he loves Thomas's English muffins. So he writes a strongly worded email to Comedy Bang Bang to complain about how bad those ad reads are,
No.
so that he can fall in love
William.
with Thomas's English muffins.
First
Maybe.
of all,
I mean, just spitballing. Just
First of all,
spitballing.
I did not know that Thomas's English Muffins buys ad reads on podcasts. I'm gonna have to pitch to them.
Please,
She's
because
writing it down.
she is writing it down.
I am.
Because I do love Thomas's English muffins. And we will crush those ad reads, let me tell you.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
On a similar note, Corey bought a box of they were Klondike bars that had Heath chunks in it,
Yum.
which sounded amazing. He bought it, brought it home, ate one.
Oh, I forgot about
There's no
that.
Heath in this. Ate another one. There's no Heath in this. There was no Heath in any of them. So he wrote
But
them
they
a
were
letter.
labeled Heath.
Yes.
Yep.
And
Yep.
even the plastic packaging on each individual bar was marked Heath.
I mean,
So he wrote them a letter,
Did
and they
respond?
sent him a single coupon for a single box of free Klondike bar.
didn't your husband also send beer money
To Post
to
Malone.
Post Malone after his breakup?
He sent him a $20 bill and like a 3-page handwritten letter. Haven't heard back yet.
So, we all have our thing.
Yeah.
We all have our things.
Okay, well, we're talking about our husband's weird things.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
okay. Okay.
So Zach is obsessed with the TV show Prison Break.
Is he French?
No.
All French people love that fucking show too. How many times can you break out of prison?
He broke into prison too. Don't forget about that.
Oh, okay.
So anyway,
Oh, I'm fucking losing it.
so I've told the story on the show before about when he saw the actor who portrays the character Sucre at an event. And he
my
lost
God.
his damn mind. And he totally accidentally cock-blocked Sucre. So
Zach.
we were at this, whatever, doesn't matter. Long story short, we're at this like party that we had no business being at with all these like actual celebrities, the lowest tier of which was Sucre. And he
From prison
like
break.
he had not worked in several years.
A minute.
And he was flirting with these two like models,
Oh, yeah,
And-
Sucre. Shoot your shot.
shooting his shot, and Zach saw him from across the room and went,
No.
"This party is star fucking studded."
Jesus.
And then he made a beeline for Sucre, and then the models had to like you could see the like disappointment in this man's face. And the models like evaporated, and Zach was just talking his ear off about how excited. Okay, so that was one time that he expressed his love
There's
of Prison
another?
Break. So then recently, this was like 10 years ago.
Oh, my God.
Then when we were in Chicago, at one point, he like took Sonia for the afternoon or whatever so I could finish my notes. And he came back and he had gone to the top of some building that was like the building from which Schofield, like the opening shot of Prison Break, Schofield like stood there and like tossed his plans into the river.
He took your
What?
baby to a rooftop without you?
To like a building, not like an open roof.
He just broke into a residential rooftop
I don't
to
know how he
recreate this
got there.
opening
He
shot
got to
from
some
Prison Break.
building, and like it was the exact angle, and he was showing me the screenshot, the still shot of Prison Break, and being like, "This is where Schofield stood and threw the blah 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 into the river," and you can see because the angle of this building is
No.
the same.
No. 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 Zach. I'm sorry. You have to get divorced. Like, this is not right. I'm afraid. Something is off. I'm like, my
Something is
spidey
off.
senses. No.
My Spidey said, "You think 14 years later, like
Yeah, this is it. Something's changed. You do have all those chemicals in the Ohio River now. So, like,
Yeah.
has he been drinking the fucking tap water?
yeah.
Have you?
Zach! Yeah, have you? Is that why you're just okay with this?
Maybe he's just
You're
low
just
on
going
Thomas's
with it?
English muffins. Maybe that's the problem.
I would take angry English muffin stalker over I'm gonna break onto this rooftop with my infant child.
We've all made our choices.
Okay.
Calling Zach after this episode.
He'll be so
Sir.
excited to tell you all about it.
Oh my God. I've never seen a single episode of Prison Break,
No,
and I'd
you're right.
love to
He
keep it that
will.
way.
He will. He'll just tell me everything, and I'll
Oh,
just
yeah.
want to die the whole time.
He'll send you all the screenshots. He'll
All right, I'm
explain
not
how
calling
he
Zach. No,
found it on the map.
Don't call Zach.
it's not worth it. You're on your own. It's not fucking worth it. I can't. I love him, but I can't.
No.
Not doing
There's
it.
a line.
Yeah, my love is very conditional. Extremely conditional.
Okay, back to cyber stalking.
Oh, right.
Okay, another example would be posting threatening or personal information about someone on public internet forums,
Doxing.
Yeah.
video voyeurism, or installing video cameras that give the stalker access to someone's personal life.
Yeah. Very
Um,
scary.
True Crime Obsessed just covered this documentary that I hadn't seen before. Speaking of Netflix going to the dark side on their true crime, The Most Hated Man on the Internet.
I've
have
heard
you
of
seen
it,
this?
but I haven't seen it.
I've seen
Yo.
all this shit. I love it.
It's so wild what that motherfucker does and gets away with for
Yep.
so long with just posting nudes that he got by hacking into people's emails and then adding their like direct social media handles, Facebook,
Mhm.
identifying information of them. They have no idea that this stuff's getting posted out there. People are losing their jobs.
Mhm.
It's like
Oh, I think I saw an SVU episode that was based on
definitely
that.
based on him. This
Yeah.
guy, I had never heard of him because this was kind of going really crazy like when we were entering the workforce for real. So we just were not as glued to social media as people like 3 years younger than us. We're in like that perfect window, I feel like.
Yeah.
But that documentary is nuts. If you have not watched it, watch The Most Hated Man on the Internet and then listen to the True Crime Obsessed 2-part recap of it because it's extremely funny. But like the show is fucked up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The real life actions are really scary.
So bad. So bad.
Also using GPS or other software tracking systems to monitor someone without their knowledge or consent, or using someone's computer and or spyware to track their computer activity. And now it's my turn for a quick anecdote.
Ooh,
There's a
what did you do?
local business owner here in Des Moines. This is all going down like now. And I don't have all the information, and I also don't want to get like sued for libel or whatever, but
So allegedly.
this fucking dickface Steve McFadden allegedly put a tracking device on his ex-girlfriend's car
Very common.
and was following her around. And then he went to jail for that, and among other things. He beat her up and like all sorts of stuff.
Oh my God.
He was in jail, so he got one of his buddies, who's another local fucking business owner, to then log into the GPS tracking shit so his friend could stalk her on his behalf.
Oh my God.
Allegedly.
Friends don't help friends stalk.
No. So there's like 6 restaurants in Des Moines, bars and restaurants that are owned by these two fuckers. So
So
do your research. Yeah. and
can
don't
you
go there.
get a stalking charge, like a cyber stalking charge, only for getting caught planting the GPS then? Could that be like a stacked charge?
Probably.
or like if you're caught like logging in and actually monitoring it.
Sure. Not just the placement, but actually accessing the information.
Yeah,
don't know.
because the second guy, the buddy, is now also in trouble for that, even though he wasn't the one, I don't think, that put the tracker on the car.
I bet just the placement could count as a charge.
I think it could, depending on,
It's
yeah,
probably
because
both.
it indicates intent.
yeah.
It's probably both, but
Wow.
Okay, another quick anecdote.
oh my God, this is going to be such a long.
But it's good. It's a good
We're
one.
women. What are you going to do? We have a lot to say about stalking.
Yeah, that's
a
true.
lot of connections to stalking and Thomas's English muffins.
I can say that. I think this is fine to say. I'll put allegedly at the top. Allegedly, some elementary schoolers at a school that Zach may or may not work at, parents have started to, because they're elementary schoolers, so they're not really ready for smartphones yet. But
Yeah,
parents,
that's too much internet.
right? So, but their parents want to have some way to like keep track of them in case they're kidnapped, God forbid, or something, right?
Jitterbug, baby.
Get your kids chipped.
Well, they don't want to chip them, but they still want something for safety for these little kids. And so a lot of parents have started to buy Apple AirTags
Yeah.
and put them in the kids' backpacks.
Mm-hmm.
So some 4-year-olds or whatever in the pre-K program, their parents got them these Apple AirTags, and the parents were like tracking it, whatever, just like logging in and kind of glancing.
Make sure they get on the bus and
yeah,
blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
exactly.
I would do the same. I'd get my kid chipped like a fucking dog.
That's what I'm saying. Chip them.
Yeah. Goodbye.
So then they picked up their kid, and their kid was at home, and then for some reason they got like a ping or like an alert that the Apple AirTag was somewhere else.
Oh, no.
And they were like, but my kid is here with me. And then they're like, and over the weekend, they're like watching this AirTag like
But the
move
backpack
about.
had come back as well.
The backpack was back. The kid was back. No
The tag is gone.
The tag is living its life, bouncing around. And finally, they're like, realized to like ask the 4-year-old, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I traded that for a shiny rock."
Yes!
So the kids
I
were
was going to
just
say he probably traded it for something.
That's the most Lucy. I traded that useless disc
Yeah,
for a shiny
it
rock.
looks like a shiny rock, so I traded it for a different shiny rock that I wanted.
Amazing.
My rock tumbler rocks are almost done, by the way. Speaking of shiny
I
rocks.
can't wait to see them.
They look so good.
What was that noise?
I'm excited.
All right. Okay.
That's adorable.
Okay, are we ready to
Did they get it
move
back?
on?
Okay, good.
This is from
But they were
psychology.
accidentally stalking like somebody else's 4-year-old basically all weekend. not knowing, like totally not meaning to.
Okay, from Psychology Today. Stalking encompasses a desire to exert control over a victim. That drive could emerge from a romantic relationship, for instance, warding off suitors or trying to win over a new partner. It could arise from a fantasy of a relationship formed entirely in a person's mind, such as in the case of celebrity stalking, which I'll talk about a little bit more in a minute. Mental health conditions often appear in those who become stalkers. Research suggests that half of one sample of stalkers had a disorder such as antisocial personality disorder, narcissistic personality disorder, or borderline personality disorder.
Interesting.
And borderline is particularly prominent in women stalkers.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know a whole lot about like these diagnoses. So I found out that people with borderline personality disorder often feel intense anxiety about being separated or abandoned by the people they care about. So they may go to extreme lengths to prevent that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Perpetrators are often motivated to control, humiliate, frighten, manipulate, embarrass, or take revenge on the victim.
Yes. Even if no slight actually occurred. Like it can be like completely fabricated.
In their head.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Here's a fun fact. Research indicates that female stalkers, although they're fewer in numbers, they more frequently commit threats, verbal abuse, property damage, theft, and physical harm more often than male stalkers do.
I can see that.
So there are fewer female stalkers,
I
but
dug my key into the side of his pretty little souped-up four-wheel drive.
Yeah.
Carved my
One
name
could
into
say
his
they're
leather seat.
a little more intense
I took
on
a
average.
Louisville Slugger with both
Okay.
hand
Oh,
flats.
right. Okay. A 2000 paper titled A Study of Stalkers, love and alliteration, identified 5 types of stalkers. So the first one is rejected stalkers. So they follow their victims in order to reverse, correct, or avenge a rejection. So for example,
Correct.
a divorce, a separation, being fired from their job, something like that.
Being told no when you ask someone out.
Yeah, that is a rejected stalker.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have resentful stalkers who make a vendetta because of a sense of grievance against the victims, motivated mainly by the desire to frighten and distress them.
So these stack, for sure.
There's a lot of
my
overlap.
guy, was a rejected stalker who then became a resentful stalker.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Then we have intimacy seekers who seek to establish an intimate, loving relationship with their victim. Such stalkers often believe that the victim is a long sought-after soulmate and that they were, quote-unquote, meant to be together.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have incompetent suitors.
This is my guy for sure.
So these people, despite poor social or courting skills, have a fixation or in some cases a sense of entitlement to an intimate relationship with those who have attracted their amorous interest.
Incels.
Yep.
Mhm.
Their victims are most often already in a dating relationship with somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have predatory stalkers who spy on the victim in order to prepare and plan an attack, often sexual, on the victim.
Yep. This guy, my guy checks like every single one of these almost. That's so fucked up.
I feel like my stalker is female. I feel like she falls into resentful
Mm-hmm.
and maybe incompetent.
I almost covered another case of a female stalking situation among like younger teens, and that was definitely like resentful.
Mm-hmm.
It was very much steeped in jealousy, and it's like your hormones are so crazy, and then on top of that,
Mm-hmm.
you have some of these very predatory tendencies. I didn't end up covering that, but it was fascinating. Definitely different if we're talking on the binary. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it seems like a very different pattern.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually have a 6th type of stalker.
Oh.
So the 2002 National Victim Association Academy defines an additional and 6th form of stalking, and that is the vengeance or terrorist stalker.
Oof.
Both the vengeance stalker and terrorist stalker, or the terrorist stalker is sometimes called the political stalker, do not, in contrast with some of the aforementioned types of stalkers, seek a personal relationship with their victims, but rather force them to emit a certain response. While the vengeance stalker's motive is to get even with the other person whom they perceive has done some wrong to them. So, for example, an employee who believes they were fired without justification from a job by a superior. So while they are getting even, the political stalker intends to accomplish a political agenda, also using threats and intimidation to force the target to refrain or become involved in some particular activity regardless of the victim's consent.
So those jagweeds who threaten to like
Blow up abortion clinics.
Well, that, but also kidnap the governor of Michigan or whatever.
Yep.
They could totally fall under something like that,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Okay.
All the
so-
people who like threaten AOC and
Yep. Wow.
So
yeah.
most prosecutions in this stalking category have been against anti-abortionists who stalk doctors in an attempt to discourage the performance of abortions.
This is blowing my mind because I'm also thinking back to our like Hashinations episode
Yeah.
or like political assassination attempts or successes. A lot of times if they catch the person who did it, but they will absolutely show these kinds of traits.
Yep.
This is so interesting. Okay.
Mhm.
I'm like, I hate it. And it's very fascinating.
Mhm.
I feel like I might have cut this part, but another flavor of stalking would be for the purpose of like a hired hit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where you're tracking
is-
someone's movements repeatedly, but you're
It's for a very specific intention.
it's more like an extrinsic motivation where you're
Yeah, it's
doing
not
it
like
for like a job.
infatuation.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But
Okay.
but
Like
a person
stalking, literally stalking prey.
but
right.
a person in certain circumstances or areas that could be a stalking charge.
Mhm.
So here's a little bit about celebrity stalking. In social media and influencer culture, it's beneficial for celebrities to make their followers feel close to them. This can obviously backfire in a stalking incident, which could be the result of a variety of factors. They may seek attention from the celebrity and become resentful when they don't receive it. They may attempt to genuinely court the target. I really thought your joke was funny.
I thought you said my name on your show and you wanted me to email you.
I didn't think they were communicating with me.
I know you're trying to reach me, darling.
Has your neighbor's dog been talking to you lately?
I do know that.
Josie's
But the
whispering to her.
coincidence was interesting to me.
Okay.
I can't wait to get alerted that the dollop has filed a restraining
Yeah.
order against us.
Oh no.
Oh my god. Get at us. We'd love a collab.
Get at us.
God. Get at us or I might appear in your home. Okay, moving on.
Oh my god.
Get at us or I'll get at you.
I see you've recently refinished your driveway. Looks great.
You have your red receipts on. I know you opened by email.
Oh no. That
Get
is
at
Bill,
us or I'll get
Bill
at
turned
you.
his red receipts off on me because I was like, I know you saw that text message way too many times.
red receipts shouldn't exist.
They shouldn't. They're so anxiety inducing.
I know.
So
Mine have been
actually,
off
Fucked up.
since day one.
I think the only reason we're getting married, I think the only reason he proposed is because turning off his red receipts saved our relationship. So turn it off.
Yeah, turn them off.
Turn them off.
Only a crazy person still has them on. Or someone who has like trouble with accountability or whatever.
Sure. Which, like, hi, but whatever. Turn it
Okay.
off.
They may also be a predator trying to gather information and eventually assault the celebrity or have a delusion that they truly formed a relationship with that podcast.
Like the
That podcast.
like the Jodie Foster guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
yes.
Or the Bjork guy, right?
I don't know. There have been
A
a lot of guys.
guys.
A lot of guys.
Too many
fucking
guys.
guys.
Okay. Although victims or loved ones sometimes minimize a stalker's behavior, it can often lead to violence. About 1/3 of stalking victims were eventually physically or sexually assaulted, according to one study.
Yeah,
Potent-
take that shit fucking seriously.
Yes.
Yeah.
A third.
That's so fucked up.
Potential indicators of violence include previous instances of violence, destruction of property, loitering around the victim's home or workplace, and whether the victim feels intense fear. However, there's no way to reliably identify if a stalker will turn violent, so as we have been saying, it is important to take concerns seriously by documenting the stalker's activities and considering legal action.
And if something feels off, it's probably off.
It probably is. Yeah.
Yeah. Your instincts are valuable. We have them for a reason, for sure.
And
so.
like sometimes they'll like Lucy said before, they'll like steal something or like rearrange items where it's like they didn't
because they were rifling through your shit.
Or they just want to fuck with you and intimidate
Right.
you.
Yeah, they want you to know that they were there in your space.
Yep.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So beyond actually being assaulted, there are a billion other ramifications of being the victim of stalking. So stalking can lead victims to feel nervous, stressed, and anxious. They may have trouble sleeping or experience nightmares. They may lose their appetite. They may experience symptoms of depression and post-traumatic stress disorder such as hypervigilance, flashbacks, and avoidance. Victims may also take measures to protect themselves that fundamentally alter or interfere with the way they would otherwise live their lives, such as taking time away from work or school, changing jobs, or moving away entirely.
Or
My girl had to do
canceling
that.
major events. And we will get to it.
Yeah.
Ugh. Like my wedding, because I had invited people from the dollop, but now they're too scared to come.
Right.
They're too scared to go.
I would
They messaged
never
me
hurt
privately.
them.
Oh my Lord. I just want to feel their skin.
I would never hurt them. I just want to feel their skin.
Maybe wear it.
Stop.
So
This is my new favorite joke.
What should you do if you are being stalked? So here's some advice from Rain. Try to avoid the person stalking you. This can be difficult at times, especially if the person stalking you is close to you or your family. If you're being stalked through communication technology like email or text messaging, make it clear that you wish to stop contact. And once you've made it clear, do not respond to further communication.
But track all of that shit.
Yeah, keep it.
Keep all of it.
Screenshot it.
Next one, keep any evidence received from the stalker, such as text messages, voicemails, letters, packages, emails, etc. But again, do not respond.
Yeah,
you can
don't
do this by
engage. Gray
taking
rock, babe.
You can do this by taking screenshots of conversations or even printing out email exchanges.
Keep the envelopes.
Keep everything. There's DNA.
Yeah.
Inform family, friends, supervisors, and coworkers of the situation so they can keep an eye out.
This whole episode's freaking me out. My eye has been twitching the whole episode. God.
One of the I Am a Stalker episodes that I watched recently, the victim was trying to go back to school. And so she went to like the head of security at on the campus and was like, this is what's going on. This is what this man looks like. He is going to show up here. And then they left that meeting and the security officer went out into the hallway to like walk her outside and he was fucking there.
Holy shit. Immediately.
But she had filed a restraining order previously, so they were able to arrest him.
Yeah. Okay, good. At least it's not like it's public property. You can't do anything about it.
Nope. That's what a fucking restraining order is for. It's not to necessarily prevent them from being in your space immediately, but it's
for there to be
a reason
consequences
for them to be arrested for it.
Right.
If you have children, create a code word that lets them know that they need to leave the house or call the police.
Oh, God, that's heartbreaking.
Consider reporting the stalking to local law enforcement. Yeah. Keep an accurate journal or log of all incidents connected to the stalking. And then last but not least, become familiar with computer safety and ways to stay safe online.
You can also track your own movements, like keep some kind of analog so it's not hackable. But some kind of journal or diary of your own movements because it could
so
be
if you're
relevant
not somewhere
later.
when you're supposed to be. Yeah.
If you could prove like I was in this place at this time, this person was there. I was in this place at that time, the person was there again. Like you can you could use it later on to form a picture of them following you.
Yes.
Right. Oh, God.
And
Ugh.
if you want more resources about this, you should check out safehorizon.org.
Safe Horizon is a really excellent organization for a lot of different issues, not just stalking, but all kinds of intimate partner violence and
Rain
rape
had
and-
some good information on stalking too, but
Mhm.
Safe Horizon, yeah.
Well, I
good
think
resource.
Safe Horizon is a resource and action-oriented organization where Rain is a little bit more informational. Isn't that right? Like, doesn't Safe Horizon offer some, like, safe extraction services and things like
Safe
that?
Horizon, also runs some shelters, I think, but Rain, Rain might have like a reporting system.
Yeah, Rain is such a vast network, and
Yeah.
they are incredible as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think they do the, like, actual... They might recommend
I
extraction
don't think they
services.
run any facilities.
Exactly. That's what I mean.
So that
Yeah.
is my
Cool.
segment, and you're welcome for the
done.
new
Ugh.
nightmares.
Are we ready for my case?
Yeah.
Oh,
well, maybe.
It's a weird one.
Great.
All right. In October of 2022,
Whoa, real recent.
Jesus.
wait, that's definitely a typo. I'm sorry.
You said it so confidently.
You really did. The way you looked
In
at us through the
October
sky
of
of 2022.
Wait, that can't be right.
Like it was
That's
supposed
a
to carry
typo.
some deep significance.
All right. Okay. Starting over. Cut all
Oh
of that.
my God, that was amazing.
No, keep it. It was funny.
Okay.
That was really fucking fun.
I meant to say in October of 2002.
You're just a cool 20 years off.
Yeah, that's fine. 35-year-old Debbie Pemberton, who was working as an accountant, received a phone call that would change her life. At first, it seemed completely innocuous. The woman on the other end asked for the cell phone number of Debbie's fiance, 45-year-old Dr. Jan Folkowski, who is a leading London psychiatrist, and because these things often go hand in hand.
So wait, we're talking British gays? We've got like
No,
a gay couple?
no, Jan is a man.
Oh.
Jan
Jan the man.
It might be Jan.
Fine.
It's Jan.
It's Jan
Jan
Folkowski.
Folkowski.
Mike Wazowski. Okay. So
Jan Levinson Gould.
Debbie is engaged to Dr. Jan.
Got it.
Dr. Jan is a man.
Got it. Boo. Got it.
Dr. Jan is a leading London psychiatrist and champion powerboat racer.
Wow.
What a resume.
Yeah.
Epic.
So somebody
Where
calls.
does he find the time?
Right. Well, I'll get to a lot of things that he found time for.
Uh-oh.
I love your little breadcrumbs.
So Debbie gets this phone call. It's a woman on the phone, and the woman just asks, "Hi, can I have the cell phone number of
Dr. blah,
Dr.
blah, blah.
Jan?" And Debbie's
Dr.
like,
Jan.
"Sure, here is his number." Not thinking much of it, she gives the phone number, ends the call, goes about her day.
Mhm.
But as Dr. Jan would later recall, quote, "That was one of the really surreal things about it. My life was going fairly well. I was quite happy with things, no major problems. And then suddenly everything changed overnight, literally without any warning."
Shit. Okay.
Yikes.
So soon after that phone call, Jan and Debbie began receiving near constant texts, emails,
Ugh.
and phone calls, many of which were explicitly threatening. So it just instantly overnight went
Whoa.
to threats.
0 to 60, babe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One text message sent to Jan days before Debbie had scheduled a dentist appointment. She just made a dentist appointment. She's going to get her teeth whitened.
Mhm.
Jan gets a text that reads ominously, quote, "Her mouth could burn."
Oh,
Ew.
my God.
Fuck.
So this,
Holy shit.
that gets worse. This was a typical example of the messages that they received, which often contained a chilling level of knowledge about the couple's private schedules and daily activities, as well as about that of their friends and family. So, this person knew that Debbie was going to the fucking dentist soon.
So this person is sending these messages to like both parties'
Yes.
phones and both parties' emails.
I
And
wonder if she like hacked their Google Calendar or something, or if that was even a thing in 2002.
Probably not.
I don't think so.
Not 2022, like
Right.
some people claim.
At the top of confidently at the top of this episode.
So another sample text message ordered Jan not to marry, quote, the false witch, and included false claims that Debbie had been cheating on him.
Holy shit. Ugh. The false witch.
Mhm.
First of all, new drag name, I call it. Second of all,
False witch.
wow.
Yeah.
That is so creepy.
Yeah.
It's so like creepily specific.
And also
Yeah.
like overwrought and like
Yeah.
fantastical.
Yeah.
Well, and like no,
Dramatic.
that's not that's not like common slang. You aren't out here like on the playground calling someone a false witch.
You're not.
In 2002.
We were.
You did not grow
We
up
were.
with Scott and Kenyon,
Yeah.
and it shows.
Yeah, I get it.
We definitely were, but I
Fair.
can concede that that's probably
That's
not
different.
common.
We
Yeah.
probably called Janice a false witch,
false
on a
witch?
number of occasions.
You mean Blanus?
yes, Blanus.
So the couple also fielded creepy, silent phone calls and messages sent to people close to them containing other false and embarrassing accusations. She just kind of was throwing spaghetti at the wall, seeing what stuck.
What in the world?
So on one particularly terrifying occasion, they returned home to the houseboat they were living on at the time because apparently Dr.
Wow.
Jan just fucking loves boats, just can't fucking get enough of boats.
Wow.
Some may say he's stalking boats.
Boats, watch out.
Many obsessions in this case.
So they get back to their houseboat and they find that the gas stove had been left on, but they were certain that they hadn't touched it themselves. Like they had not used the stove.
Yeah, someone broke it.
Someone broke in and left this gas
Turned on their
stove.
yeah.
So that's fucking terrifying.
Yeah, that's really
a
scary.
that's a attempted murder.
Yeah.
Is what that is.
Yeah. So the couple went to the police to report their mysterious stalker, and the police did take them seriously, and we will get to it. So despite the harassment, Debbie and Jan decided to persist in planning their wedding, which was scheduled for September 2003 in Poole, Dorset, England,
Did they use Zola?
which means
Yes!
it's time for our favorite segment.
Yes.
Geography.
You remembered.
Oh, redemption.
So Poole lies just north of Poole in Dorset, which I think Dorset is supposed to be quite lovely. Lies just north of Studland and Swanage.
Swanage.
Jesus.
Northeast of what I can only assume is the absolutely bustling metropolis of Wool.
I want to go to Wool.
I
I do too. It sounds really cozy.
Oh, she.
I wonder what their history of industry was.
What do you think is their major export?
Southwest of Hamble-le-Rice.
Did you know that wool is only wool if it comes from Wool, England?
Otherwise, it's itchy cotton.
Otherwise, it's just
Otherwise,
sparkling
it's
cotton.
ow, why did I buy this sweater?
It's ow. Why did I buy this?
It's
All right.
still dry clean only. Jesus.
God. Southwest of Hamble-le-Rice and Our, as in, where is Our? It's Our there.
Hambelisa rice.
Our.
And south of the following most British fucking sounding places of all time, and this is a rapid fire round. Shapwick, Pampill, Sturminster, Marshall, Winburn, Minster, Corfe, Mullen, West, Parley, Litchett, Matravers, and Sturt.
Sturt.
Petition to make Sturt the capital of the entire world.
Sturt.
Sturt. I don't know, Sturt.
Sturt. Okay, so England fucking get a grip. Okay.
Oh my god. So like England, what the fuck is wrong with you? Get a goddamn grip. Okay, moving
Once again, England, get your shit together.
on. You'll never be the dollop. Stop trying. England.
I thought you meant me.
Not you, honey. I'm talking to England.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm addressing England as you
got it.
stalking the dollop.
So they decide to continue planning their wedding, which this is why I thought it would unlock your fear, Amanda.
Great.
And as they did so, the messages began to escalate with threats that a hired gunman would show up on the day of the wedding to kill Debbie and that she would be, quote, burnt down in her wedding dress.
Ooh.
Yeah, I can see some wine and crime fans doing this shit.
Maybe. That's what fake
Just
witches get.
kidding. I'm a real witch.
Fake witches get burnt.
Oh my God.
Oh, no.
One message read, quote, bang, bang, bang. That's all you deserve. Fucking Deborah Tart. Your last days are counted up.
Oh, my God.
Ma'am.
Yeah.
What on earth?
At least we know the perpetrator is British.
Mhm.
Right.
Calling somebody a tart.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Another said, quote, your life will end. Gunman paid.
Oh,
Ugh.
God.
I have receipts.
The couple's chosen wedding venue also began receiving threats, including
Oh, for God's sake.
text messages stating, quote, that many would be dead if the wedding was held as scheduled.
Oh, my God.
One message addressed specifically to Sharon Mallins, the head chef at the fucking wedding venue,
No.
Come on.
read, quote, Sharon, please, Falkowski Pemberton wedding can't take place. Food has been poisoned. Guests will be dead.
Ugh, no. I'm not paid enough for that bullshit. Cancel the wedding.
I mean,
Bye.
if I were the venue owner, I'd be like, this is not worth it.
I wouldn't want to go forward with it either.
No.
So Jan and Debbie decided that they could not go through with the event as planned.
Mm-hmm.
That's
But-
really fucking sad.
It really is.
But alongside police, they concocted a plan. Because now they had an opportunity, right?
To
Fake
catch
wedding.
This bitch. Yes. Okay.
So they
Yes.
very quietly canceled the wedding, like
We're gonna
told
paint avocados and oranges to look like hand grenades. We're gonna rent a helicopter
And we're gonna get away with it.
and we're getting on the dollop. If they won't have me as a host, they will have me as a topic.
By God, they'll read my story.
Either way, they will have me.
they'll be mentioning another Kenyan soon enough.
God. We're gonna get a
shit.
stern
Cease and
email
desist.
from their lawyer.
A C&D.
Yeah.
I love
It's
it.
another old C&D.
Honestly, worth it. This
Throw it
joke
in the
is-
pile.
Throw it in the pile.
Okay. So they privately tell their guests that it's canceled, but they continue to act publicly as if they're planning the wedding. So they continue to like go to meetings at the venue to like really try to sell it, right? That they're still doing this.
Is the venue clued into all this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I'm sure they didn't actually make all the food and stuff.
They're still holding the weekend, the date, whatever.
Yeah, but I don't know. The police are involved, so I bet the venue is trying to cooperate. I don't know.
Yes.
So then, when the day of the event came, undercover police arrived at the venue disguised as guests, and there were no actual guests present.
Wouldn't that be fun? A fun day as a cop?
Right? You get to dress up like you're
Dress
going
up
to.
and it's like
Jeez.
Tony and Tina's wedding.
Totally.
So they began staking out the area in their like wedding guest attire.
Mhm.
And there they arrested a 45-year-old woman named Maria Marquez, or maybe, I don't know, Marchese. I don't know how you're supposed to say that. Maria,
Mhm.
who worked as what do you think her job was?
Nursing assistant.
Vet.
Cheese counter assistant.
I'm eating cheese right now.
I said assistant.
I said vet.
So she had been spotted frantically texting and making numerous calls from a nearby phone booth, probably like figuring out in that moment that the wedding wasn't on, or like maybe sending more threats, like last minute threats. I don't know. Maria did have a connection to Dr. Falkowski, but such a tenuous one that he didn't even recognize her name at first when police told him they had arrested someone.
I just really like cheese.
No,
so I see her a lot at the cheese store.
That's actually a good guess, but no, it wasn't from the cheese store.
Okay.
She was the partner of one of his patients whom he had begun to treat in 2001, so a year prior. And Maria had been present for a couple of those psychiatry sessions, even though she wasn't even she clearly is in desperate need of.
Right, but she wasn't his patient.
She wasn't his patient. She was like connected to his patient. And not even like that recent of a patient.
Weird.
So weird. And she had been present for a few of these sessions, but she hadn't made much of an impression on him at the time. It wasn't like he left that session being like, wow, this lady is nuts and obsessed with me. It was just like a normal session.
Weird.
So at first, Jan and Debbie were overwhelmed with relief that their stalker had been caught and that they could finally go on with their lives. However, the Crown Prosecution Service made the inscrutable decision not to prosecute Maria, despite evidence including phone records, and she had a fucking shrine to Jan that the police discovered when they searched her apartment.
Oh my God. Like candles and pictures and stuff?
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, I have
Was it made out of his chewed gum like Helga Pataki from Hey Arnold?
Oh my God. I remember that.
Remember?
Yes.
Your brain is so weird.
How do you
I
remember
know.
Helga Pataki?
I don't know.
Look at her.
Unibrow. I don't know. Look at her.
Wow.
Ew, look at it.
Ew. It's my superpower.
It is.
Don't ask me to remember math, but Helga Pataki's got a permanent residence up in this fucking
Not going anywhere.
string bean head.
Helga Pataki.
She's in there, babe.
Couldn't shift her if I
Jesus.
tried.
Couldn't.
All right. So this is where shit begins to really go off the rails.
Oh, this is where.
This is?
Yep.
Not when the cheese meister tried to blow up their houseboat.
An
then.
assistant to the cheesemeister.
Assistant Cheesemeister tried to
Assistant
explode their
to-
houseboat and
Assistant to the cheesemeister.
car rolled 5 times
And my assistant cheesemeister
One of the
tried to blow up my
heretics.
houseboat, and then we confronted the cheesemeister.
At
I don't know.
the fake wedding,
I'm under a
and
lot of stress.
she had a shrine
had
to
to plan an entire
Jan.
fake wedding. She's like a total Helga Pataki. I don't know. I'm under a lot of stress.
So soon after the police or like the prosecution, whatever, doesn't go to trial, she's let go. She's free.
Cool.
Maria goes back to the police station. Like she chooses to go to the police station to report a crime. She reports and accuses Jan of drugging and raping her in his hospital office when she was there for those sessions.
Oh, so it's a perceived vengeance thing, maybe?
Well, maybe it's not perceived. Maybe this really happened. And that, because it's like otherwise so random. What would set her off like this all of a sudden? Just seeing him and having a normal interaction with him? Like, I know she's a little off.
We will get to it, but these are speculations that I also had.
Yeah.
And we will get to it.
Okay.
So Maria she even brought a pair of underwear to the police station that she said contained Jan's DNA as evidence of this rape.
Oh, shit. That's bold if it's not real.
Yeah.
And to everyone's shock, the DNA testing showed this to be true.
Whoa.
It was Jan's semen on this underwear.
So even if there wasn't a rape, there was at least some kind of, unless she stole underwear.
More
like
than
his wife's
tenuous
underwear.
connection. Oh, well, yeah. I mean,
Because she broke in to try and blow up the houseboat. Maybe she stole some panties out of the hamper.
You're getting closer.
Oh!
So Jan was suspended from his job, arrested, charged with this attack, and the case was very close to going to trial. Like, this man's life was up fucking ended.
Flashing before his eyes.
Yeah. But then, kind of at the last minute, some new DNA evidence came to light, and this was like a little bit of a Hail Mary.
Oh my God, this is the most snip, snap, snip, snap, snip, snap. Do you know the physical and psychological toll that 5 vasectomies can have on a person?
So the underwear in Maria's possession that she had presented as this evidence also contained the DNA of another woman. And this was revealed to be that of 25-year-old Beth Ann Ansel.
So not his wife.
Not his wife.
Or fiance.
Or Maria.
Or Maria.
A woman that Jan had met through his power boating.
Again with the boats.
What the
And
fuck?
had
So Jan was cheating anyway.
And had recently
We don't
begun having an affair
no, we
with.
know.
I don't know. Snip, snap,
We
baby.
know.
Snip, snap.
No. This one's...
It's some Prince Philip and the carriage racing.
This
If
is
you've
some
watched The Crown.
bullshit.
What? No.
Prince Philip and the
No.
carriage racing.
Yeah, spot on.
Saying
know.
it again doesn't
If you know,
make it
you
sink
know.
in anymore.
Okay.
My mom is definitely listening to this going, I know, I watched The Crown.
There you go.
Tell Kenyon
I
I
watched The
know.
Crown.
Tell Kenyon I know. I love those texts from Suzanne.
Yeah.
Okay. So police determined that Maria had stolen a used condom from a trash bin outside of Jan's home and then put his semen onto a pair of underwear.
Yeah.
But it wasn't her own underwear?
I think it was her own underwear, but somehow like basically the condom must have had DNA from Jan and from Beth Ann,
Beth
which would
Ann.
make sense if it's
Mhm.
used. So it was Maria's underwear, and she probably wasn't thinking that they could get as much DNA from this other woman.
Did Maria
Yeah.
know that he was already cheating with this other woman?
Probably.
Or was this a complete
Because she was
coincidence?
following
She
him.
was stalking
Yeah.
him so much that she probably did know, although that was never one of the accusations that she made. She had always accused Debbie of cheating, which she wasn't.
Well, if she became obsessed with him, she wanted him for himself.
Right. So, at the time that Maria alleged that the rape had taken place, so back in 2001 when she had actually been in
Briefly
his
met him.
office, briefly met him, Jan had not even met Beth Ann, the mistress, yet, meaning that the sample must have been acquired long after the alleged rape would have taken place, and therefore discounting it as evidence of said rape.
Okay, this stalking case is sloppy bananas.
Yeah, it is really
and
sloppy.
I'm not saying that any of this behavior is good.
Mm-mm.
However, kind of nice for the wedding to implode
Okay.
and our poor fiance bride to be to find out that her man's cheating.
I mean, in a very
for the heads up,
dramatic and
Maria.
roundabout way.
Maria's just women helping women, okay? Maria's just looking out for her.
It's equally as devastating, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, she didn't.
I'm just
She didn't
glad
have to go
all
through the
truth came
trauma
out.
of the wedding. She just had to go through the trauma of being threatened for months, and then the
No,
wedding
no,
being
for
called
sure.
off, and then her
But if it had
fiance
to
being
own-
accused of rape and going
Right,
to
right.
jail, and
Sure. All
But
that.
also,
All that. Yeah.
I kind of,
All that.
I kind
Sure,
of love
but-
how nervous Dr. Jan must have been through this whole thing because
Where he's like, oh, they
he's like,
found-
well, I
oh,
know
it's a
I
fake.
didn't.
Oh God, wait.
I know I didn't rape the accuser, but they're gonna find out a lot of shit too.
well, he didn't know how she had gotten his DNA.
I doubt he thought they were going to find out all that stuff, and then that must have been such a roller coaster. But I'm just glad the fiance got to get the fuck out
Well,
of here.
she's not done yet.
Oh, God.
I do say in my notes, hey, at least they didn't go through with that wedding.
Right, exactly. That's the only silver lining in this.
But it was pretty fucking traumatic period. So anyway, Beth Ann's DNA on the underwear and the timeline inconsistency finally led to the charges against Jan being dropped, but this was 18 months after he was first arrested.
Well, dang.
So he
and
was
now
sitting
that's
in jail
long
that
enough.
whole time?
I think he was out on bail, but like he was fucking put through the ringer.
Yeah.
18 months for something you absolutely didn't do, and you
Yeah,
were
I
the
mean, fuck
victim?
you, you're a cheater, but you don't deserve that shit. That's
nobody
fucked up.
deserves that just for
No.
cheating.
No. Just. But yeah, I know what you're
Yeah.
saying. I know what you're saying.
So, like he was the victim.
1,000%.
And not every victim is perfect, but he was the victim.
And he's a doctor who now has been very credibly in with DNA accused of rape for a while, and like it's really, really hot in the headlines when they're accused, and then it's really, really not hot in the headlines when it's recounted.
Yeah.
And so his
You're
reputation
not going to
is
get
already
another
ruined.
job.
Well, I mean, luckily or not for him, like this case became super sensational, big news in the UK.
So his vindication was pretty well publicized.
Yes, but in a lot of cases, no, right?
Yeah, right.
So this evidence is also what finally led prosecutors to bring charges against Maria Marquez. She was convicted of harassment in August 2006 and sentenced to 9 years in prison.
Damn.
The judge who sentenced her described the case as the most serious he had ever encountered, probably because like it led to like a canceled wedding and a man being falsely imprisoned for 18 months. And
it's kind of amazing
and
no
blah,
one
blah, blah.
died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Jan and Debbie did break up.
Whoa.
Now Jan has dropped the Gould. It's just Jan
Shyamalan
Levinson now.
twist.
And Jan eventually married Beth Ann.
Wow.
No.
Well, trauma bonding is real.
Happy ending.
Secrets out. May as well get wed.
They just love to powerboat together.
Oh, gal.
So he later
Helps them
stated in an interview, quote, "The stalker was always there between Deb and I. We didn't know who was doing it, and it was frustrating. Beth Ann was somebody who wasn't involved in it at all and somebody not stuck in that confinement." Like, okay, fine.
So I'm going to marry her because it makes me feel better.
Yeah. So Debbie seemed to feel similarly, though, like hashtag no hard feelings, telling a newspaper in 2006 that Maria Marquez, quote, "took away 11 months of my life and destroyed a relationship. But ironically, on one level, it did me a favor. If I had married Jan, it would have been a mistake and I would be divorced by now. I'm convinced now that he was the wrong man for me."
Yeah.
Yeah, babe.
So Debbie ended up moving to France and married somebody else just a few years later.
Good for
she's
her. She's living your best life.
living my best life.
She's best friends with the dollop.
She's a recurring favored guest on the dollop.
I don't even want to be a guest. I just want them to know me. See into my soul.
I just
wanna
want to touch
feel their skin. Yeah.
Maybe take a little bit of their hair.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Just because I wear a necklace with their names written on a grain of rice does not mean that I want to steal their hair.
So
I got it at the Mall of America.
the twisted story was turned into a TV movie with the absolutely horrific title, "You Be Dead." You, the letter U.
What?
Okay.
You be dead?
You be dead.
Okay.
It must be a quote from one of her missives.
Oh, that
Would
makes
be
sense.
my guess.
Must be.
Because her grammar was always like a little weird.
Off.
Yeah.
It's not all that was always a little bit.
I think there's also a TV show now that they're making about this case with like kind of big name British stars in it, but TBD.
But still no one you've ever heard of.
People that I would know and Suzanne would know.
Acorn TV.
Yeah.
Acorn is Acorn, not Acorn. Suzanne is going to let me know that she knows.
My mom, Acorn.
My mother, Acorn. Guys, that gummy has fully hair. She here.
So
My mother, Acorn.
My mother, Acorn.
On why he had allowed a movie to be made about such an upsetting period of his life, Jan stated, quote, "A few people said it was such an interesting story that somebody was bound to do something about it, so it would be better to be involved so that it told our side of the story accurately. It's also quite nice that people can now see the whole story rather than snippets they would have seen in the press at various stages along the way, to have it all out there." So again, I think that's part of the vindication piece where he's like, I didn't do anything wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I cheated on my fiance, but I'm not a fucking rapist, like garbage person.
Yeah, right. So when asked whether he thought Marquez would watch the movie from prison, he stated, quote, "I don't know where she is. I've never had any intention or wish to find out anything about or to understand Marquez."
He literally, I don't know her.
He literally did not know her.
Yeah.
Quote, "I don't even want to have a sense that she might get some satisfaction from us even thinking about her."
That's fair.
That is a healthy mindset.
Yes.
Yep.
So Maria Marquez continues to maintain her innocence, but following her conviction, it emerged that she had previously stalked another couple and threatened to kidnap their baby.
Oh my
No,
God. Not our
honey.
baby.
Sir, your patterns.
So she's done this before, and
your patterns.
hopefully she won't again, because she must be out of prison by now. I mean, she was put in prison in 2006 and only for 9 years, so she's got to be out by now.
According to math, yeah.
You get dead.
Yep.
You be dead.
You be dead.
So please don't
Sorry.
stalk us.
No. Only stalk the dollop.
Yeah. If you find out any info.
Well, damn. That story was a wild ride.
It was really wild.
Snip,
Wild
snap.
ride. Snip fucking snap. Okay, we're back. Kenyon's wind trauma was real, so we might be in different outfits because
It might
have
be
had
a week
4
later.
days go
I
by.
might have lost power for 4 days.
I'd had to go to a hotel, and she just got internet back to. It's you know what? It's fine. Evelyn is cursing us. Evelyn's the new Shannon. God bless her.
Evelyn, we are so
sorry. Please,
We're so sorry.
stop harming us. It was your daughter's idea. Can
Don't
you
provoke
haunt her instead? That'd be great. All right. Now that we're back and we're not flying away in the wind, are you ready for my case?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. My case is a lot more, not more tragic. Yes, more. It's bad. It's really dark. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
It's bad.
We hate to say more or less when
Right.
it comes to
It's-
trauma and harm,
Exactly.
but
It's just different.
It's bad.
It's really bad.
okay.
So in April of 1984, Laura Black was a young 22-year-old newly graduated electrical engineer.
I think I know someone named Laura Black.
Maybe.
Laura Black. Excuse me.
Laura Slack.
It's a fierce name.
Yeah.
Mhm. Her skills landed her a job at Electromagnetic Systems Laboratory, or ESL, as it will often be referred to throughout this case. English as a second language. This company was a high-tech defense contractor located in Sunnyvale, California. Laura was thrilled to land the job of her dreams right out of college and showed up to work ready to make a great impression.
What a little cutie. Getting
Little
a
peanut.
job at 22, at something with electromagnets. That sounds
Working
cool.
9 to 5.
Women in STEM.
Women
Yes,
in STEM.
women in ESL. So the first day of work, she's introduced to her coworkers, including a man named Richard Wade Farley.
No.
Never trust a Farley.
Meow.
Meow.
Never meet a man.
Dick Wade Farley.
Dick Wade Farley.
No.
Yikes.
A 40-year-old computer technician and 9-year employee at ESL Inc. Immediately, Farley, quote, fell in love with Black
Nope.
and was quick to ask her out.
Gross.
She's 22, he's 40.
Yeah. Leave her be.
Mhm.
Let her live.
Leave
her-
Laura alone.
Leave her alone. She had no interest in this man who was twice her age and wanted to maintain a professional relationship, but he wouldn't take no for an answer.
Great.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen that video that the woman on a date, like, surreptitiously recorded her awful date?
Yes.
And the guy is, like, ordering for her. And
I have seen that, and it is creepy. However, I've also read that they are actually married and they make, like, clickbait content.
Oh.
So that particular video might not be real, but either way, it is very haunting to watch.
It's really scary if it is real.
It's really, really scary. And even if it's like a sketch, like that is a very real situation.
Incredibly triggering. And
And I don't like that they're kind of playing with it for clickbait.
I don't like it either.
Do we know that for sure?
It's not confirmed. It's just I've seen a lot of
People
commentary around that specific viral video.
Well,
that I haven't seen around other stuff that is like equally sketchy.
gross.
But either way,
Don't
very,
like it.
very unsettling fucking video.
It just gives me those vibes of like, this guy definitely, Dick Wade thinks that he is a nice guy and suave and a romantic. And actually,
1,000%.
you're a douchebag and you're a stalker and you're horrible.
Uh-huh. Yep. So he starts leaving little gifts on her desk that she would arrive to every day at work.
No.
That gives me goosebumps. I don't like that.
It's foul. Just wait. Cards, candy, homemade bread,
Ew.
which like yum if it's wanted.
I don't want
would
anyone's homemade bread.
I would eat bread off the sidewalk that I
1,000%.
found before I would eat this man's bread.
I would never eat this man's bread.
And I
Sir,
would eat a lot of different bread,
your yeast.
but I'm not eating this man's bread.
Sir, get your yeast off my desk.
Yeah.
Fucking keep your yeast to yourself. Like if the homemade bread is wanted, then great. But she wanted nothing to do
You know
with this.
some other shit is in that yeast.
I would not trust it.
No.
So she was trying to just like keep her head down, ignore him, keep working, and hope that he would get the picture. But when she didn't respond to his gift giving, he started calling her desk from his desk multiple times a day.
You can't be nice to a man.
No.
No,
You can never be nice to a man.
You really can't. And then, you feel like shit because you're a nice person. You want to be nice to strangers, but it's a risk. You can't take that risk.
It's a gamble.
Here's a quick anecdote.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
I was home from college for like winter break, and my mom didn't want me sleeping around. Sleeping
Mm.
around.
Sleeping
Too late.
around.
It's college.
I was like, she never tried to shut that down.
Laying around, sleeping in. So she got me a part-time job at their warehouse. It was like a printer warehouse.
Ooh.
And so there were only like other like younger
Middle-aged
men in
men,
there.
yeah.
Well, like 20s, whatever.
Oh, okay.
not people you were interested in.
No.
No, but I was bored. I was working in a warehouse. I'm the only like woman for miles. And then and then this one guy, was like kind of flirty and friendly, and I'm just being friendly back. Go back to college. This was in 2005, so fresh Facebook. He created his own Facebook specifically to reach out to me and like stay in touch.
Oh.
No.
Then I found out he also created an email address specifically to email me.
No.
You cannot be nice to men.
You can't.
Mm-mm.
No.
Oh.
You can't. And men, if you're listening, first of all, if you're listening to this, you're probably fine. But like spread the word
Yeah.
that like just because someone is nice to you doesn't mean they're romantically or sexually interested in you.
More
And if
often
they
than
are,
not, we aren't.
You'll know.
Yeah, they'll let you know.
They'll let you know. If you're confused, they're not interested.
Yeah. So he's calling her incessantly with these little like, what are you up to calls, which like, I'm working, fuck off.
What are her superiors doing? Are they helping
Oh, we'll
her?
get to it.
Oh, God.
And it isn't like she can just ignore her work phone, and it's the 80s, so there isn't like caller ID.
Yeah.
So he's just set up to keep harassing her. And continuing to shut down his advances, his behavior escalates. So now he's also following her outside of work, and she notices he's watching her outside of her aerobics class.
No!
Yeah, he's like getting to know her routine.
He's done this before.
Probably, although it's not like on record.
Right.
Like there's nothing on, he has no criminal record.
A man doesn't just start acting like this at 40.
No.
I agree. He's absolutely done it before. And the way that this was handled indicates that he's gotten away with it many times. So at this point, Laura's starting to freak out. She's not getting support at work. And his disturbing behavior is continuing to ramp up. He's been with the company for almost a decade, so everyone seems to trust him, take his word over hers. Like, he's a good worker. He's never bothered anyone. You must be, like, imagining things or reading into it too much. This psycho, not satisfied with stalking her at aerobics class.
Oh my fucking God. This is why also workout classes should never be in those like buildings
with a window.
Like, with a big glass.
No,
I know,
What
every
is
gym
that?
is just a window in the front to the outside
It's
world.
advertising for
I
passersby.
get it, but it's horrible.
It's horrible.
It's horrible. So he sneaks access to her personal information through their HR department, which means he now has her address and home phone number.
Ugh.
So he starts driving by her house every single day. In one of his stalking tactics, he called and left a message asking her for a date. When she didn't respond, he thought, well, she didn't tell me no.
Oh my God.
So he showed up at her door for the date that he had suggested they go on. And when she told him to leave, he took this as her playing hard to get.
No. Hard to get's not a thing, guys.
Nope.
It's not
We
a
just don't want it.
No.
Bye. On at least one occasion, he tried multiple code combinations for her garage door opener in an attempt to break into her home.
Oh.
Yep.
God.
He took it a step further and tried to rent the apartment next door to her.
Oh my God.
And when Black discovered all of this, she moved. She moved away from her apartment. Got a new apartment.
This
Like,
is
that's
what-
how bad this was.
This is. Ugh.
Without access to her at her home because she moved, he went in another direction to get her personal items. He befriended a manager in the custodial department at their office and got them to copy the keys to her desk so he could rifle through her locked desk drawers with impunity.
Oh my Lord.
This poor woman.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
At this point, he has acquired so much information about her that his delusion has fully set into, we are in a relationship.
I know all
Like,
this.
I know
about
everything
her.
about you.
No one could love you as much as I do.
And he still has not been fired from ESL Inc. He's still working there.
So what is her management doing? And also, fucking sue that HR department for giving
Yeah.
out her information.
And the person who gave the key to her desk.
Uh-huh. I mean, the answer to your question is they're not doing shit.
Like when she goes to them, they just, what do they say?
I
Like,
think
if
they
she's
just-
going to them.
She was, but not. I don't think she was going to them like super frequently, but she did go to HR multiple times and they were just like, we'll look into it.
Oh,
That's basically it.
my God.
So literally a year into this happening at and outside of work.
And they're still working together.
Yup. Laura finally gets some quote-unquote help from their HR department when they require Farley to attend psychological counseling for his behavior.
No.
They don't fire
this
him.
man. This is insane.
They don't fire him. They send him to a therapist. It's so bad, you guys. He agrees to the therapy, but never actually stops stalking Laura because of course he fucking doesn't. I guess in an attempt to dial back his behavior at work, he shifts from like calling her and leaving her notes incessantly to sending her letters, and sent her over 200 letters in the course of a year. That's almost a letter a day.
Ugh.
I am in no way victim blaming because this poor young woman is just starting out in her career and
She doesn't fucking know what to do.
she has
Plus, it could happen to anybody.
It could happen to anyone, and she should not have to change her life
No.
to accommodate this psychopath at all. And she already has so much.
Mm-hmm.
So all of that as the preface. But like, I know I could not endure this for a year and still show up to work every day. Like, how is she managing to do that?
I'm not sure. And I think that like I think that there was a lot of threatening in the letters as well. So I think that also, formed her patterns of like, how do I deal with this so that I'm not putting myself more at risk by like going against what he wants me to do, but I also am not with him. So like, I don't think she felt safe with HR. I don't think she felt safe going to the police. I think she was just like, I'm just going to try to keep my head down and ignore him.
Right.
And hope that this goes away.
Right.
There's also
It's just so scary.
not pressure when it comes to being that young and landing a job in your field and feeling a lot of pressure for staying in that position.
And it's a very male-dominated field, certainly now, but like in the 80s. I mean,
it's fucking hard to get
I couldn't fucking
new
do
job.
it either. I would freak the fuck out. I'd probably move out of the state, change my name. Anyway, some of these letters included his own manipulated photographs of the two of them together. Yup.
Has she reported him to police?
At this point, I'm not sure. It wasn't like super clear.
It's also the 80s.
It's also the 80s.
Jesus, this is so wow. This is wow.
Yeah. So when she would ignore these letters, he'd get more aggressive, with one of his letters reading, quote, "The shit has hit the fan, all because you thought I'm a joke and refuse to listen or understand that I am gravely serious."
Ew.
Finally, in 1986, 2 fucking years after the stalking began, ESL Inc. fires Dick Farley. But let me be clear, this is not just because of the stalking, which is plenty of reason to fire him.
Yeah.
But his obsession had clearly taken over his life, and his work performance had fallen behind.
Okay,
Well, he's
there
not
you
being
go.
productive anymore. That's
Yep.
the last straw.
Yep. So that's what
Wow.
it actually took to get him the fuck out of there. And frankly, I hold ESL Inc. responsible for almost all of this except the like stalking itself, which is all on Dick. But
Yeah.
they did absolutely nothing to protect their
They
employees in this
allowed
situation.
this escalation to occur. They allowed this. Oh, no.
And it will only get worse after he is fired. So without a job, things take a rapid downward turn for Farley. He lost his house to foreclosure, and he was being investigated for unpaid taxes by the IRS. But even when his life was falling apart, he always had the time to harass Laura Black. And he would continue to do so for several more years.
Oh my God.
Things got so fucked up when in January 1988, Laura found a package placed on her car windshield from Farley that contained a copy of her house keys and a note.
This poor woman has already moved once because of him.
Yep. In response to this horrific discovery, Laura filed a restraining order against him, which was granted in February of 1988. The order was temporary. Like this is, I think it's still like this now.
Yeah.
Initially, when it's granted, it's temporary until you go to court to make it permanent.
Yes.
So they had a court date to make this permanent on February 17th of 1988. But Farley wasn't going to go down easy and was now desperate to make Laura his, like all his or nobody's.
Ugh.
You
Before
also
the-
have to serve the person usually, and they can evade being served, and then the restraining order doesn't go into effect until they're
Right.
made aware of this impending court date.
Yeah, I mean, I think she was granted the emergency order,
Right.
and he was made aware of the court date because he knew exactly when he was expected in court.
Right. I'm just saying in general
But yeah.
that is a tactic that some people use is they evade being served and then
Mhm. Yeah, it's fucked up. So he escalates his behavior even more before he could go to court and they could force him to permanently stay away from her. Quote, "I have been afraid of what this man might do to me if I file this action," she said in her filing with the court. "However, I am now at the end of my rope." So that leads me to believe that she had been potentially in communication with police, but had been too afraid to escalate it because of his threats against her if she did.
Which is a very real and very valid fear. Because
Absolutely.
it's not like a restraining order is a magical force field.
Fuck no. And it's not like police can even really do that much to protect you.
No,
Like-
it's after the fact. It's
Correct.
after it is broken
Yeah.
that they can choose to come and help you.
Right. And
But
really
they don't
the whole
even
point
have to.
really the whole point of filing it is to make sure there is like a documented paper trail for if and when things escalate that can then be presented in court.
Right.
It's not like, and I'm not saying don't
It's a
follow
it's
these
a
steps. It's
bit
essential.
of a deterrent,
Right.
but it's not a failsafe.
Exactly.
It's the way they
Exactly.
caught that guy in that episode of I Am a Stalker.
Yeah.
Had she not filed that, he's on public property. It doesn't matter. They can't do anything.
Right.
Because our justice system is reactionary. It's not preventative.
Right.
And so, God forbid things escalate in a situation like this. If there's no record,
And the
Of
burden
any-
of proof is on the victim.
exactly, if there's no record of any filed complaints or
Yeah.
whatever, it's going to make your court case a lot harder, which is such fucking bullshit. But that's the system we live in. So, he's served. He knows when his court date is.
Okay.
First, Farley delivered a in response to this. Farley delivered a package to Laura's lawyer with allegations that they had a long-standing romantic relationship and, quote, he could prove it with receipts for dinners, doctored recordings of phone calls, and more of his fucking photo collages of them, quote unquote, together.
Ugh.
Delivered it to her lawyer.
I hope
they're
probably
trying to
terrible,
undermine her case.
Terrible Photoshop.
Yeah,
I know.
exactly.
I
It's
really wish I could have
1988.
found
I
them.
would give anything to get my hands on those.
He like cut them out and probably
Yeah.
like pasted them with a glue stick onto another piece of paper. Like
That's
it was
what
very
Kenyon's
obvious.
mom did.
Yeah.
That meme she made. She printed it out, taped it together, and re-scanned it.
Yeah.
Took a picture of it and sent it to you.
Yes.
So
And
lawyers
emailed me the picture. She didn't text me.
I made a
Wow.
meme.
mailed it, snail mailed.
It only took her about 3
Faxed
weeks
it.
3
from
weeks?
the idea for the meme to the execution of the meme.
That meme had a full gestational period of like
It's a lot of work.
a butterfly.
Hamster.
She had to
Yeah.
get her printer settings right.
Good
Oh
God.
my
Make sure she
God.
had red 5 or whatever it is, or the whole printer won't work.
Yeah.
Anyway, Laura's lawyer was not buying it and dismissed the package as absolute bullshit and just like logged it away as this guy's
More evidence
fucking
of
nuts.
his
We're gonna-
psychopathy, yeah.
We're going to use this in court.
Yeah.
Then Farley purchased guns and ammunition on February 9th, just days after being informed of the order and their pending court date.
Cool.
Despite an active restraining order, he was still legally allowed to purchase guns and ammunition. And I know this was the 80s, but it isn't like it's much better now. And no, I can't stop yelling. All of this is in caps. It's just, they basically, like, the company did nothing to protect their employees or hand down any consequences for his
No,
behavior.
the company
and then,
did a lot to protect him.
correct.
They did nothing to protect her.
That's what I'm saying. And then he was basically handed a gun and a bunch of ammunition and just legally and let to just run loose.
I also just want to say that, like, this is rape culture.
Uh-huh.
Like, when people are like, well, what even does that mean? Blah, blah, blah. Even though doesn't necessarily, like, involve rape,
Mm-hmm.
this is a cornerstone of rape culture. Like, how this man is just handed all these opportunities,
Mhm.
not given any consequences. The victim, the woman, is not taken seriously or is too intimidated to be able to enforce her rights and just live her life.
Mhm.
This is part of what we mean when we say rape culture.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
And he is like, he's not sexually assaulted her at this point, but like,
If he was
he
given
is
the
fucking
chance.
raping her. He is
Yeah.
taking everything.
He's violating her.
He's
He is
violating her.
every
Yes.
aspect of
He's
her life.
stripping her of power. He's stripping her of autonomy.
Safety.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
like I said
it's-
in my segment, they didn't use the word stalking for this until the 90s. It was called
Exactly.
psychological rape.
Yeah, and there
Yeah.
were not laws in place to really protect victims of this kind of harassment.
Yeah, he's stealing items of hers. He's doing everything but the final physical piece.
And what he does do is, quite frankly, so fucked up and the catalyst for a lot of legislation that should have been in place long before he had a chance to do any of this shit. Yeah. So I edited this next section slightly, but this breakdown of events comes from medium.com and it was like very concise. So I'm mostly reading this portion from that article. So the day before their court date, Farley drove to ESL Inc. in Sunnyvale, California. He spent some time in the parking lot. He later claimed that he was waiting for Laura to come out to convince her to retract the restraining order and that if she refused, he would kill himself.
Cool.
Laura didn't come out quickly enough for him, so at 3 p.m., armed with a .38 automatic, a .357 Magnum, a .22 rifle, and 2 shotguns, he forced entry into the building. Now, again, this is like a military product manufacturer, so it's like a pretty locked down building.
Yeah,
but he knew how to get in.
Yeah, he'd worked there for over a decade.
Exactly.
It's not on a base. These aren't military personnel, are they? Okay.
No, it's a private company.
Okay.
It's a private
That's
company.
what I thought.
But they do.
But they had security.
Correct. They had security and they work with some private military contracts. So it's like just to give an idea of what kind of.
Yeah, you don't want the Americans sneaking in there and taking secrets.
Oh, sure. He entered the building wearing a protective vest, leather gloves, and earplugs. So it's pretty clear that he never intended to just talk to Laura and then kill himself if he didn't get the results he wanted.
Well,
Otherwise,
you don't want to damage
why do you need
your
a bulletproof
long-term
vest?
hearing.
Right.
And earplugs if you're not going to listen.
Yeah. Yeah. Fucking Christ. I didn't even think about that. It's very obvious that he wanted fucking carnage, like revenge, not only on her, but on the company that fired him.
He was geared up like he was in a fucking video game.
Literally.
Oh, I hate these men.
I know. So he shot his way through a side door, like a secure door, to bust into the building as he had no access anymore to get in. He started shooting anyone in his way as he walked to Laura Black's office on the second floor, leaving dead employees and destruction in his wake. Once at her door, he tried to get in, but she slammed the door in his face, which caused him to shoot at the door, barely missing her. He pushed the door open and shot at her again, this time hitting her in the shoulder, leaving her unconscious and bleeding on the floor.
Oh my God.
Believing he had mortally wounded her, he left her to bleed out. Police had been called almost immediately and a SWAT team had arrived, engaging in an almost 5-hour standoff with Farley. At some point during the standoff, Laura regained consciousness and was able to crawl her way into hiding with a handful of other survivors in the building.
Oh my God.
Eventually, the survivors and Laura Black escaped, and Farley surrendered to police with the demand that they give him a sandwich and a soda.
Fuck this man.
Yep.
Classic.
Yep. When police searched a motorhome owned by Farley, they found a stockpile of guns and ammunition along with cans of gasoline. Quote, he had a lot of guns and a lot of gun knowledge, apparently a lifetime hobby, the police captain said. So we've got patterns here, people.
Cool.
Farley had killed 7 people that day and injured 4 others. His main target, Laura Black, survived. This is from the Associated Press. Killed were Joe Silva, 43, of Sunnyvale, Buddy Williams, 23, of San Jose, Glenda Moritz, 27, of Sunnyvale, Ron Reed, 26, of Sunnyvale, Helen Laparter, 49, of Sunnyvale, Lawrence J. Kane, 46, of San Jose, and Ron Doney, 36, of Manteca, California. God. Injured in addition to Black were Richard Townsley, 44, of San Jose, wounded in the chest, arm, leg, and hand. Gregory Scott, 39, of San Jose, with shrapnel wounds to the face. And Patty Marcotte of San Jose, who broke her forearm trying to break a window to escape.
Oh my God. What a fucking
They're at work.
scene. Jesus.
They're at fucking work.
A lot of them are in their fucking 20s, too.
I know.
Ugh.
It's just sick. During the trial, Farley admitted to the killings, but claimed it was not premeditated, and that he had come so armed because he wanted to get Black's attention and then die by suicide in front of her as punishment for her rejections.
Okay, that's premeditated, buddy.
Yep. His defense attorney claimed
Punishment for her rejections.
Uh-huh.
Because he's entitled to her love.
Mm-hmm. So entitled that he can kill 7 other people to get at her. His defense attorney claimed he was not a violent man and that his obsession with Laura Black momentarily clouded his judgment.
For
And
4 years.
Yeah. Insisting that Farley would likely never kill again.
Until he sets his sights on a new lucky lady.
Anyone else, yeah.
Ew.
Like, the fuck?
A defense, they have to
I
say
know.
something, but it's just so craven.
That would,
Like, do you have to lie?
yeah. I really do commend, like, especially public defenders. They do absolutely extraordinary work and do help a lot of people who are wrongly accused or over accused of some bullshit. But I could not
No.
sleep or like live with myself, I don't think.
No.
For crafting a defense like this for a person like this. Like, I don't know how you do it. I know it's like your duty, but
I just don't. I feel like the goal, if you're a defense attorney or a public defender, is, first of all, especially in a case like this where he admits to the killings,
right.
and there's
don't get him
no
off if you want to like
question of guilt.
negotiate a sentence.
Yeah,
great,
if you
but
want to like come up with what you think is like a
It's
fair,
just.
right?
yeah,
But why is
That's
the goal
not how
to
any
like
of that works.
excuse this person?
I don't know. And I think in a lot of cases, Kenyon, what you're saying is like spot on. That is often what we see at trial, where it's like, we know you fucking did it. Now we're really here to figure out the extent of the crime, the severity,
Like,
and
if you
how
want
to
to
sentence
say
you.
like, obviously my client has major psychological problems and he
Yeah.
needs serious treatment and should be kept away from society, but
Correct.
maybe shouldn't be sent to a maximum security prison. Although,
I'm good with that.
let's try it out.
Yeah.
Try it out. We'll see what the jury says.
But this felt like a defense
Right?
of his behavior. It's just like, bleh, it just really gave me the creeps. I really do not like it.
Yeah.
So it's just, it's so stupid. Like, it's so obviously fucking premeditated. And like, unfortunately for Farley and his defense team, he had left a paper trail of his stalking literally years long. And they had receipts for his firearm purchases, which are like perfectly he already had firearms and then he bought more after being served with a restraining order.
Yeah.
Tell me that's not
gear.
fucking premeditation.
Yeah.
There was just no way a jury was going for the defense's case. It was far too clear that Farley had taken planned, intentional, and horrific steps to cause a massacre. That was what he wanted. So on October 21st, 1991, Farley was convicted of all 7 counts of first-degree murder, and he was sentenced to death by Superior Court Judge Joseph Biafor Jr. But this is in California, so like he's technically still on death row
But
as
they
of
haven't
2021. Yeah.
Implemented
They've
that.
basically stayed like all executions, which is fine. This guy can fucking rot in jail for the rest of his
I'm
goddamn
still
life.
against the death penalty,
Same.
but yeah, fuck this guy.
So Farley is still serving for his crimes in San Quentin prison. As for Laura Black, she spent 19 days in the hospital recovering from her injuries, and once behind bars, Farley wrote to her claiming that she had finally won. Yep.
Okay.
So in a way, she
How
did.
was he allowed
She's
to
alive.
write to her? Like,
I don't know. The 80s
prison-
and 90s are fucking nuts.
the prison is supposed to monitor his correspondence. Like, it shouldn't just be one-way monitoring. How is he
I know.
allowed?
I don't know. I don't know how that happened, or if there weren't explicit stipulations of his sentencing to protect her still, even after he's put away. It's so fucking annoying.
And then what fucking happened to
infuriating.
electromagnetic douchebag corporation.
She kept working there for several years after. Like, I mean, what are you going to do? She's fucking, now what, 26? It's the 80s. It's her, like, first big real job out of college.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. So, due to this stalking case and then the murder of actress Rebecca Schaefer, which I think either you, Kenyon, or I have covered before. One of us, I'm 99% sure covered it.
I think so, but
Was she
I
the
like
one that
the
was like
obsessed-
that he framed her hanging?
I
and there was, like,
I don't
a
remember the
apartment.
details, but she
He
was
like a
like
handyman.
she was like a rising starlet. I feel like we covered it in some sort of like obsessed with
Yeah.
celebrity crimes or whatever. Anyway,
I have no memory of anything. I
me either.
couldn't
But
tell you
that
what we
name,
recorded last week, but yes.
that name like is sticking in my head for some reason. But anyway, listeners will know. But after her case, which happened like right around or right after the same time as Laura's case, California passed the first ever anti-stalking laws in America in 1991, 92, first ever
That's
in the United
insane.
States.
Oh,
So-
he knocked on her door and he shot her in the
That's right.
chest of her
Yeah.
apartment.
Yeah. So it really fucking breaks my heart that those laws were put in place so late in the game.
Mm-hmm.
We absolutely should have had more protections for victims of stalking earlier than the late fucking 80s and early 90s.
Yeah, we were alive then.
Yeah.
Jesus.
But alas. And if you are interested in a dramatization of this story at all, there is a movie called I Can Make You Love Me that was made in 1993, and Brooke Shields plays Laura Black, and an actor named Richard Thomas plays Dick Farley.
Yuck.
And that's
Well,
my case.
I am full of rage now. Thanks.
Sorry.
Thanks.
Thank you, Carrie Iverson,
Thank you,
Sorry,
Carrie.
Carrie.
for your
Yeah.
fan pick. But actually, I'm glad we covered this finally because
It's an
Very
important topic.
important topic. And
Yeah.
key to a
Shocked
lot
we
of other
hadn't before.
episodes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it's
good.
it's scary shit.
Good call.
okay,
Thank
stay
you.
safe, everyone.
Bye.
See you next week.
Bye-bye.